Hello, beautiful people. How are you today? I hope you are doing well. My name is Mariah, for those of you who don't know, and welcome to my channel. So today I had the lovely idea of sitting down and doing a full face of one brand, and the one brand I chose is Makeup Revolution. I chose this brand because I have a lot of products in my collection that I just happen to really love. I almost love everything from this brand, and I was sitting down doing my makeup a while ago, and I was kind of thinking like, what is my favorite drugstore brand? And the more I kind of thought about it, I was like, holy moly, I think it is Makeup Revolution, because I have so much of their stuff in every category of makeup, to like primer, foundation, eyebrow, eyeshadow, everything and under and in between, except for blush actually. But anyway, with that being said, they're just easily one of my favorite brands. A lot of the reason I love them is not only because are they super good in quality, they are very inexpensive, very affordable for the everyday consumer, but they are also free and vegan is their formula, their whole line. And that is just really special. That's awesome. Kudos to them for, being able to do that. I will say though, just as a heads up, a disclaimer, if you keep up with social media and whatnot, Makeup Revolution does tend to have some controversy, only because they are known as a dupe brand or a copycat brand. And I think that was more so earlier when they first started out, is that they came out with a lot of palettes, eyeshadow palettes that straight up copied a lot of other palettes. For instance, I won't be using these in today's video, but I just wanted to share just because. For instance, they have their Reloaded palettes that I think are $7, $8. This one right here, what palette does this remind you of? Soft Glam from ABH, Subculture from ABH, and then Modern Renaissance from ABH. So they copy. They also, in their earlier days, had copied a lot of Too Faced eyeshadow palettes, like their chocolate semi-sweet palettes, and like their blush palettes and whatnot. So anyway, and then they recently had some more controversy on like just straight up copying some packaging, but it's kind of a caveat thing of like, okay, well, if you can't afford the ABH and you want those color schemes, then yeah, it is a nice alternative, because I'd rather you buy a cheaper like copycat makeup than a straight up like counterfeit, because counterfeit makeup, you have no idea what's in it, can be totally unsafe just because of the production conditions that palette may have come in. So with that being said, it's just kind of, if you don't believe in copycat duping at all, then I would stay away from that earlier stuff, which I think some of it, like their Reloaded palettes, are still available. But they have a lot of new stuff that's completely on their own, like the setting spray that I'm going to be using, the concealers that I'm using, the primers and stuff like that. They have so many products on Ulta, and they also are their own brand on their own website. I think they're sold in Europe stores, but the only place they're sold in the States is on Ulta. So anyway, I don't want to keep going off on too much of a tangent. So I like this brand a lot, as you can tell. I own a lot of their stuff. I've recently picked up new things just to try them out, and I happen to really love them also. So if you're at all interested in seeing how I get this look, then please continue watching. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with a primer, and I am going to be going in with this Revolution Pro Hydra Matte Primer. I really love this because it's almost like a lotion type of primer, and it has an interesting title, the Hydra Matte. I've been trying to dissect like really what it means, but it's a very good mattifying, kind of like an oil control, but it's very hydrating in the sense that it's not going to dry you out kind of matte, because you know how some primers that are mattifying dry you out. So if you want to, like if you're like me who has pretty normal or combo skin and you're pretty oily in the T-zone and then normal everywhere else, you don't really want to be dry everywhere else. So I like to put this on first, almost like as a moisturizer, because what I'm going to do now is we're going to start with the eyes. We're just going to do a really simple, like very flirty, cute look today. But what we're going to do first to start is prime our eyes with the Revolution Pro Eye Elements Core Eye Primer. Depending on who you ask, I might be like cheating doing this all Revolution, because Makeup Revolution is kind of tricky because they, even at Ulta, like all of their stuff is in one section. So like they have like 2-3 different brands, but they're all sold within like the same parent company. So Makeup Revolution, like if you go to their website, all of their stuff is available there. Same with Ulta. If you go in to that store, all of that stuff is there in the same spot. It's not like Makeup Revolution is on one side and Revolution Pro is on the other side. You know what I'm saying? So in my opinion, they're all the same brand, especially because they're all in the same price range, I feel like. I mean, Revolution Pro is just a little bit, I mean, you can kind of hear it in the title, is like a little bit more, but in my humble opinion, they are pretty close to not be different. So anyway, so I really like this primer because it's a really grippy primer without being like too tacky, but it just adds a nice like blank canvas. It doesn't dry my eyelids out. It doesn't make them oily, greasy, anything of that nature. It's just kind of a perfect emollient type of primer, and I like more of that pot. It reminds me of the MAC Painterly paint pot, whether you have it in Painterly or in Ochre. They're kind of the same in my opinion. The eyeshadow palette we're going to go in with is this the Once palette by the Emily Edit. Emily Noel did this in collaboration with Makeup Revolution. She came out with this palette, and I actually have her other palette, and we're going to be utilizing that today too. I'm going to go into the Shadow the Cream just to kind of set that primer in place. I don't feel like you necessarily have to do that. If you wanted to go in right with your transition shade, you totally could, but I am going to do this as an extra step today just because why not? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that same brush that I applied the cream with, I'm going to go into what is that, Midwest and Hobby just a little bit, and we're going to slowly start building our transition shade on. I like to typically build these up separately, but I actually am taking my dog to the vet today, so I have to kind of be getting this done at a certain in a certain amount of time. So just for hurriness, we are going to do it a little faster today. But anyway, I like either building those two shades up individually as a transition just to add some gradient, or I like to use them both because then it gives this really nice soft brown camel transition shade. Now I'm going to go into Prayer, and it's just a soft pinky brown color, and I'm going to take this like packing shader brush and just place that all over the lid. And now, after doing that, we're going to take this more densely shader brush, and we're going to go into Dues Paid, which is this just soft brown. It's a very reddish brown. I'm trying to think of a good color for it. I can't think of a good descriptor for it, but it pulls more red. It's like a pinky brown, if you will. It's like a shade or two down from that Dues, or from Prayer. And we're just placing this kind of in that outer crease and into our lid crease. I'm just kind of going back and forth, blending it out. Perfect. Now we're going to take that fluffy brush that we started with and go into the Cream and Midwest and just fluff out the edges, just to kind of give it that very soft look. Okay, And just for a little bit more depth and definition, I'm going to go into this apartment shade with that same brush that we used for Douce Pay, just taking a little bit on the lid and really packing this right in the outer corner. Just to add more depth to the eye. Okay, so I kind of have the base of the eyeshadow look. So now what we're going to do is go onto the rest of the face. I have this other primer by Makeup Revolution. This is their Pore Blur Primer. Now, I recently acquired a few of these products just because there were some things that I didn't have in my collection that I needed. And even though I had a primer that I used before, I wanted a different one. So I picked this up to try. And I've used it a few times just to kind of get an idea because I really didn't want this to be like a first impressions video. But from what I can tell, this reminds me so much of the Benefit Professional Primer. And I love that primer so much. It's kind of a happy medium between the Benefit Professional and the NYX, the NYX Cosmetics pore filler primer, which is just amazing because it really is that soft skin tone-ish, which blends into nothing when you put it on. But it's just a very soft silicone feeling blurring primer, which I love. Okay. So just really applying that in my T-zone, especially where like I have enlarged pores, so more so on my nose and on my cheek, right in this area. And on the chin a little bit. Okay. Just really adds a nice, smooth, even canvas to the skin. Okay, now, as I'm sure you can see, I have some blemishes, some breakouts right here. I'm kind of on the tail end of them. But, you know, quarantine, I'm at home and I have been picking my face because I'm a picker regardless. That was a fail. And so I've been sitting here just like picking. So it's a little irritated. But anyway, to kind of combat that, I have this Conceal and Fix Ultimate Coverage Concealer by Revolution. And I am in the shade Light Beige is what I have just for reference. And this is like the best product, I think. I think this is like a hidden gem at the drugstore because there's not quite anything like it, in my opinion, at the drugstore. I'm just going to take this on this small foundation type packing brush. I don't know what you would really call it. But it's the Morphe & Jeffree Star JS3 brush, just in case you were wondering. But it's so emollient. The spreadability is so beautiful. It says it's full coverage, but it is actually very lightweight. So I don't feel like when I'm putting it on as this first layer, I don't feel like I'm just adding so much product to my skin and then we're gonna end up looking cakey at the end of this. That's not how I feel at all with that product. But it's very thin. It's pretty tacky, I guess, whenever you feel it, but blending it out, it's not like crazy thick. Like the Bye Bye Under Eyes concealer from what's that? It Cosmetics, or the drugstore for a cheaper alternative. This is really good. And a foundation that I'm going to be using that I have loved since it came out is this Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation. I know since then they've come out with like a hydrating one, and I have not tried that one, but just because I feel like this one is not super like mattifying, and like I said, I have pretty normal skin, so if I want something more dewy, I would just rather mix it with something. I love this foundation because it is very skin-like. It has good coverage and it's lightweight. And I also love the applicator. I know a lot of people don't like doe foot applicators for foundations because they think it's unhygienic, but I am not a makeup artist, and so I'm not using that on anybody else except for myself. So I don't have a problem using it. And I'm just going to be blending this out, stippling it out with this beauty sponge. And this is actually the Shop Miss A Wonder Blender or Pawpaw Blender, something like that. I can't remember exactly. But this is like my favorite sponge of life. Like, I actually much prefer this over the Beauty Blender because it's just so soft and bouncy. Anyway, I know this isn't Makeup Revolution, but I don't think Makeup Revolution has tools. So we're going to go in with concealer, and I'm going to be using this Fast Base concealer from Makeup Revolution. Obviously, I keep saying that, and obviously we know this is Makeup Revolution. Now I love this concealer a whole lot more than I do their other one. That's their Conceal and Define. That's kind of looks like, kind of looks like this, but it's smaller. It's what everybody wants to compare the Shape Tape to, Tarte Shape Tape, and in my humble opinion, it's nothing like Tarte Shape Tape. I hate the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer so much, actually, because it's so drying on my under eye. I love this concealer because it's a very thin, it's not super thin. It's a pretty medium consistency, but it's very, how do I say, it's not like super liquidy or anything. It does have some creaminess to it, but it's pretty fluid. So it's not like, I'm going to go in with this powder, and this is their Conceal and Define Satin Matte Powder Foundation with hyaluronic acid and sativa, cannabis sativa. It looks like so when you open it up. I'm trying to find my brush. And this actually reminds me a lot of my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Face Powder, whatever it's called. It has like a long name just like this does, but this powder is very soft and blurring, and I guess hydrating is a good descriptor for it. And I mean, they claim that it's hydrating, but it's just so soft. Now that we have everything coverage wise on, I'm going to be going in with this Calming Makeup Fixing Spray with Cannabis Sativa. I've tried this a few times and I actually really like it because it helps keep everything in place. I think it definitely, how do I say this? It helps increase the longevity of your makeup for sure. But I also think my technique helps. So let me get into this. So now that we've got all of our, like coverage complexion products on, we're gonna now set it in place with a setting spray. I typically use any setting spray, but just for the sake of today's video, we're going in with this one, which this one is slowly becoming my favorite because it smells so fresh and beautiful, and it doesn't smell like weed or anything like that. But it's very just soft, or not soft, but the mister on it is so good. It doesn't leave like huge ugly droplets on your face and ruin your whole makeup. I'm taking my beauty sponge that we've been using and just pressing that all into place just to kind of put everything together. I think doing this helps really not cake up all of your product and still helps you achieve that like skin-like finish without looking like you have a ton of makeup on. But if you're like me and want to build up coverage, then I think this is a good happy medium for that. Back into the Once palette by the Emily Noel, and we are going to take that that packing brush that we were using, and we're just going to go back into Apartment and again slowly build up the outer edge. And the reason I'm doing this instead of going in with a lighter shade is because it took away a lot of that outer edge part whenever we did the foundation which is just kind of a caveat whenever you decide to do your eyes first. I am now taking that shade, no extra product, but just the same brush, and I'm putting that on the lower lash line. But as I was saying was kind of having it blend away the edges. It's kind of just a caveat you have whenever you do your eyes first, but as long as you know how to fix it, then it's okay. Back into that big fluffy brush and go in with cream and now blend out the edges. So beautiful. What we're gonna do is we are going to be taking a flat packing shadow brush, and I am gonna go into this shade, what is it? We're gonna go into Eve Rose and Cupcake, kind of mixing the two of those. And we're gonna be packing this onto the lid, just to add that soft, like glistening glitter look. But to finish the eyes, they have this really cool eye glisten duo shadow thing. Okay, so I'm gonna take this, and this is also in the Yours Truly in that shade, because they have a few different shade options. But I'm gonna go in with the glitter side, and we're just gonna slightly pack this on to the lid, just to give a little extra oomph. You can see it just adds a little something extra to the eye. I'm gonna quickly do my mascara off camera because as far as I'm aware, Makeup Revolution doesn't have any mascara available in their range of line. If they do, great, I don't care. I would never even try it anyway because I have found like my mascara, which is the Essence Lash Princess mascara. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on real quickly, and then we will be right back. And we are back. So now what I'm gonna do to finish out the rest of the face, because eyes are done, is we're gonna be bronzing, and I'm gonna be going in with this Revolution Ultra Bronze. And I'm gonna be just taking this dome brush, and we're just gonna be applying it right in the hollows of our cheek to lift and pretend that we have cheekbones. Okay, and now we're gonna go in this Sculpt and Glow palette in Desert Sky. Oh, that other bronzer was just in Ultra Bronze bronzer. I don't think that they have any other shades. I actually got it as a free gift of purchase a while ago when I spent so much money on Makeup Revolution a while ago for other things. Anyway, not the point. I got that as a free gift. But they do sell in their line. So I'm gonna go in with this contour shade right here. I love this palette so much just for its literal purpose of sculpting and highlighting, but also I think this is a really good multi-functional palette because you can use it. I like doing monochromatic eye looks, so like my bronzer and my like eyeshadow as the bronzer, and then like using that highlight shade as a lid color is always a fun little trick. Do actually is go back into, well, I don't actually think I use this today, but I'm gonna take this big powder brush, go into the powder that we used, and just kind of apply this on the cheeks, especially this under part, just to kind of blend everything that we just put on out, so that way it doesn't look so harsh, you know. Is we're gonna highlight, and I'm gonna go into this xoxo highlighting palette. This is like the best thing ever. Not only like do I love just Makeup Revolution, but this is amazing. I am gonna take this like very soft gold and champagne color here, mix those two, and we're gonna just apply this on the tips of our cheekbones. high points of our cheekbones, whatever. I don't know what you're gonna say. Oh, so beautiful. Look how just luminous that is. Very just soft. And I love this highlight because it doesn't accentuate my pores or anything, but I'm taking this on the bridge of my nose, and this will kind of help hide the fact that it has all that product picked up. So, because you're just looking at the highlight and it looks beautiful. Now, I like to do highlight before I do blush just because I like having everything sandwiched together instead of looking Neapolitan, if you will. So beautiful. Okay, and now because I actually forgot to pick one up and I didn't realize that I didn't have one, like a single blush, we're gonna do blush now, but I'm gonna go into the Needs palette from Emily. Go into Joy and Honesty just a little bit, which are these two pinker shades here. And kind of just brush off, and we're just gonna slightly apply to the apples of our cheeks. I love this palette so much because it is very, very versatile, which is exactly why she made it, which is exactly why she created this. But I love to take this when I am traveling, especially like flying, because I don't like to fly with a lot of my products because I don't want to lose anything or break anything. But I have traveled with this. I took this actually on our honeymoon, and it was pretty new to me at that point, and I used only this. I only took this and like a few other things like my cream products, obviously. But wow, for all powder stuff, just use this for like eyeshadow, bronzer, powder, everything. I actually also love to take this Kindness shade here, which is just like a powder shade, and I like to set my under eyes with that because it is so soft and blurring. So I'm gonna go back in with that actually just a little bit, and that'll help kind of tone down that highlight just a little bit, but also having that lit with from within type of glow, as you can see. And if you are crazy like me and you really just want something extra, and now that I have sandwiched everything in and it looks pretty, I'm gonna go in with this glow shade here in that palette we used earlier and just apply that right on top. On the bridge of the nose, forehead, cupid's bow, chin. Okay, so now I'm gonna just quickly do my lips, which I am gonna be using this lip liner in Chauffeur. And I guess I should look in a mirror as we're doing this. Duh. I mean, not duh, you don't have to, but if you're crazy, talented, and can do lip liner without a mirror, then good for you. Just a very soft pinky nude look. And now we're gonna go into this Pout Bomb Pumping Lip Gloss in the shade Kiss. Love this lip balm or lip gloss so much. It does have that pumping effect, so if you don't like that, then you won't like this. But I love this color so much. Okay, and now we are going to go back in with that setting spray and set everything in place and let that dry. And I am not going to be using my sponge this time just because I don't want the sponge to pick any of the product up, especially like the color cosmetic stuff. So we are just going to air dry. I normally would have my little fan, but I left it in my bathroom, so, and yeah. All right, so this is the finished look. This is my full face using all Makeup Revolution products, whether that be part of their actual Makeup Revolution line or the Revolution Pro line. I genuinely love Makeup Revolution so much because, like I said in the beginning of this video, they are cruelty-free and vegan, so that is amazing. I try to support cruelty-free brands as much as I can. I really love all these products. I've kind of hand-selected them except for the ones that I recently picked up to try, but so far from what I can tell from what I've been using, I really love all these products. These are kind of tried and true in my collection. If they weren't, I wouldn't have even had this idea to do this video. So thank you guys so much for watching me put together this full face of using all Makeup Revolution products. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want more or you want to keep up with my journey here on YouTube, then please give this video a thumbs up, like it, and then subscribe to my channel. And if, like I said, you want to subscribe for more, see more of me, then please turn on your bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a new video. All right, guys, that is it for me. I hope you guys keep being the beautiful world changers that you are. I will see you in the next one. Just hope you guys keep being the beautiful world changers that you are. Share the love, spread the peace, and continue to be kind this week. Bye.